Magic in the Morning at 8:36 with Ingrid Michaelson. And on the phone with us, as we mentioned, coming out of our news headlines, Mike Barrett, who together with his wife and other family and other great folks in St. Johnsbury run Barrett Insurance Agency on Portland Street. We social distance, so Mike with us on the phone. Hi, Mike. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm good. It's always a joy to have you here. Of course, you and I have been friends since long before Good Policies.
Yeah, a few moons ago, that's for sure.
Definitely. Well, folks, Mike joins us here. We call the segment Good Policies because insurance is a pretty complex world, not just for those who work in it, but for those of us that don't. We need to educate ourselves on it so we make good insurance decisions. Mike, we've been doing a couple of weeks here of Basic Insurance 101. We've talked about things like how you should have insurance on a property, even if your house isn't on it, if you own it. Last week, we talked about home ownership and life lease or life estate programs for your insurance. You know, there's another side to insurance that a lot of people don't like either, and that's cancellations. We haven't talked about that in a bit. What's key about this?
So cancellations are kind of the bane of our existence at times, depending on the circumstances. It can be tough. And what do I mean by that? Well, cancellations of insurance policy, and I'm talking any kind of insurance policy. So whether it be home, auto, business, motorcycle, boat, RV, camper, motorhome, life insurance, whatever the case may be, when you have a insurance policy, correspondence is going to, even though you're working with us as an agency, correspondence for invoicing and things of that nature are going to come to you direct from the insurance company that you're with. And it's going to come in one of either two ways, either via U.S. mail, or if you've signed up for electronic delivery, you're going to get it via email. And a very common thing, and honestly, when I say this, even myself, being in the industry, can be guilty of overlooking this. When these things come, you got to open them up. You got to pay attention. You got to not ignore the email. You got to not ignore the mail. You got to open it up and see what it is, because there are going to be times where you may be getting an invoice that you missed, and then next thing you know, you're getting a notice of cancellation, and that notice of cancellation is going to be letting you know, look, hey, you haven't paid your premium on the date that we required it to be here, so you will need to pay it by this time to avoid cancellation.
Mike,
so if you're missing that, that can be a problem.
Yeah, if I could jump in here, Mike, this reminds me of a few minutes that we spent recently here with one of our Good Policy editions, where we talked about the importance of keeping your contact information up to date for a lot of it for this very reason, right?
Exactly. This is crucial. This is big stuff, because a lot of times what can happen is people, life is busy. There's no doubt about it. We're even in a COVID world, we're being pulled in many different directions, and it's easy to miss things. So there's no fault here. There's no wrong or right way. It's just being on top of it the best way you know how. And one of the things we constantly hear when a policy has been canceled will be, well, wow, I didn't know that. I didn't receive the notices. Well, you did. The Postal Service is sending them to you, and then when a cancellation goes out, that cancellation is going to be 90% of the time, not 90% of the time, I'm trying to think of a good statistic, probably 100% of the time, is going to be sent certified mail, because they have to legally let you know that your policy has now been canceled. So the probability of not having received that is pretty low. You've probably received it. You might have overlooked it. Not that we can't fix it or resolve it. But those are things to stay on top of, because there's any number of reasons why a policy can cancel. Let's say you're a homeowner, and your homeowner's insurance is part of the escrow in your mortgage. So that means that every month you're paying your mortgage payment, and a part of that is building up an accumulation in an escrow account to pay for your property taxes and your insurance. So that means at renewal, your mortgagee is getting the invoice to pay it. And there are times where even they can make a misstep on occasion and maybe not pay it in a timely fashion. And at that point, you will get the notice of late payment, the notice of cancellation. So these are crucial things. And one of the key reasons why I bring it up is the common denominator that we hear all the time is, wow, I never knew that. I didn't receive the notice. They're required by law, the insurance companies, to send you appropriate notices and give you a timely period to resolve the issue. So invoice not paid, you get a late notice saying you got to pay it now. Now there's a late fee attached. You don't pay that by the time due. Then you get the cancellation. So it's a very regimented schedule that you're going to receive proper communication. So this does, Jeff, very much go back to our conversation where if you don't have a proper updated email address, phone number, because some companies offer the ability to text you notifications, and especially physical mailing address or mailing address, not necessarily physical, but whether it be a P.O. box or your home address. I mean, not having that information up to date is crucial, because you don't want to be in that state where you're getting a cancellation, especially when you have a mortgage, because the mortgage company is going to get that, and it's going to raise all the bells and whistles with them, and they're going to start wondering what's going on. And it can become a process for you that you don't want to be a part of, because life is busy. You don't want to have to worry about getting everything back in play again. So that's just something to really kind of keep an eye on. If you're getting something in the mail from your insurance company, it's going to be an important document. And sometimes it might be something as simple as a privacy notice that you can just discard once you've opened it, but always open it and try to pay attention to what it is that they're trying to notify you of.
Probably the best I can think of to explain this, Mike, because we're getting short on time here. Some of the flags are if you have been getting paper notifications from your insurance company and it's been a month or two and you haven't gotten one, like when you sit down and figure your bills out, like do your budget and stuff like that, you haven't got one, that should be a flag to you. Hey, maybe I should check and make sure I've got the information right for my insurance provider.
Absolutely. And we do have a lot of people to do that, going, I really thought I had an invoice coming up. How come I haven't gotten it yet? Well, here, let's take a look. Oh, it's set to go out on X date. So you're right. It hasn't come out yet, but it will be coming shortly. I love it, when people do that. There are people out there that are right on top of it. And of all the insurance 101 things, Jeff, that we could discuss, the one that is of the absolute most importance is communication with your agent. Because that's what we're there for. We're there to help you and guide you through the process, make sure things are going the way that you expect them to be, make sure that you have the coverage that you are desiring for the price that you want, all of the cliched things that we as insurance agents say all the time, but we are there to help facilitate this and make sure it's good. So if you have a question, the best part about it is a phone call to us is free, and it's going to help steer you in the right direction to keep things on a forward trajectory like you would want them to be.
So for folks to have that conversation with you and others at Barrett Insurance Agency, give them the contact info, Mike.
Absolutely. You can call us 748-5224. We're right on Portland Street in St. Johnsbury. Our office is open and open to the public. We are practicing social distancing, and to adhere to the state mandate, we are requiring masks when you're physically in our office. You can also find us on our website, thebarrettagency.com. Don't want to talk or look at us or see us? Well, go ahead and get a free online home or auto quote on our site. We would be able to look at it and give you some guidance back to you and maybe help you in that way. You can also find us on YouTube, Google, and Facebook, Barrett Insurance Agency.
And, of course, if folks have any questions, they can contact you, and we can include it in one of our good policies issues.
Absolutely. Anytime there's someone that has a question that would like to kind of have a good broad answer, we would be happy to bring it to air.
All right, Mike. Stay safe to you and the family. We look to chatting again with you next week, and hopefully we'll get you back into the studio soon.
Absolutely. I can't wait. I'm looking forward to it, Jeff.
All right. Stay safe. Stay healthy, Mike.
You too, sir.
Thank you. Mike Barrett from Barrett Insurance Agency. As you heard, you'll find him on Portland Street in St. Johnsbury. We've got some Madonna coming up next here with